Scott, and I'm going to do a quick video that shows you how I got my amateur radios mounted in my Jeep. I've got VHF, UHF, and also a CB in there. So let me quickly show you how I did it. So I'm using the ram mounts finger grip to mount my Yaesu radio, and this particular finger grip mount, I'm going to give links to the products in the description section underneath the video. But it comes with different size arms, and you can configure this so that it takes any size radio that you want. I've also used it this way, of course, configured a little bit differently to hold my HTs or my scanners, whatever it is that I'm going to be taking with me in the Jeep. So it's a really good system to put in a head and not have to use Velcro or anything else like that. I could put Velcro on here if I wanted, just to make it double secure, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so this is the radio control head mounted in the mount, and it's in there securely, and the back of it has the 1-inch ball mount, and it's what I use in my Jeep for mounting. And next up I'll show you what it looks like in the Jeep. Alright, inside the Jeep in the front, I mounted my radios to the Vector Offroad JKE mounting system, and it is a great thing. I got this off of a fellow YouTuber, Trail Recon. If you own a Jeep, you need to look at Trail Recon's site. He has got a ton of videos all geared to the Jeep. And so you can see here I have my VHF, UHF radio in. Here's my HF radio in. I've got another mount that I put my cell phone in. I've got a mount up here for my GoPro when I take that. And I can also attach another mount if I decide to throw my BCD 436 scanner into the Jeep, which is not that often. When the roads are bad and the weather's bad, I'll put it in, but other than that, I usually don't run with it. It's illegal in New York anyway, so I try not to do that. Just a word on the HF. If you're going to run HF in the Jeep, Jeeps are miserable for RF, and you have to run HF at no more than 15 watts unless the Jeep is turned off. If you do and you key up, if you're running like 50 or 100 watts, you're going to key up. It sets off all the lights on the dashboard. It just causes a mess. So run QRP power, 15 watts max, and you'll be okay. I do a lot of QRP work anyway, so that doesn't really bother me. So that is the mounting system. I forgot to mention, when I'm mounting this into the ram bracket, I had to grind down just a little spot on the back of the ram bracket so that the GPS on the radio fit in nicely. Not a big deal, easy thing to do with a Dremel tool. So that is the mounting in the front. Okay, so the next step is I have the radio body mounted to a piece of board, and the external speaker is there because this is going to get mounted in the rear. I'll be showing you that next. So, and I also have the terminals for my power mounted to the board. So that's the next step. Here's the board mounted in the back of the Jeep. You can see what I did was I removed the bolts that hold down the top, and I replaced them. I went to the hardware store and got the same size bolts, but they had to be longer. When you mount this, you're going to have to feel underneath, pull the carpet down and feel underneath to make sure that these bolts are going into the right brackets and that they are too long and hit the Jeep wiring harness that runs underneath it. So it's on there solid, and I've got my wiring harness here. I've got the battery cables run from the front right directly off the battery. I have a cap that goes over this. I haven't put it on yet. But I've also done the same thing with my HF radio. That's sitting over on the other side on another board. And my CB I've got mounted in the front. It's a small CB. and it just goes under the dashboard with a mic unit. It's a Uniland. I'll show that to you in a minute. So that's what I did with the mounting bracket to get 2 radios into the back of the Jeep, and it's good and solid. I don't have a good method of arranging my mics yet. That's still being worked on. This is my Uniland CB mic, and I've got the HF mic and the VHF mic. So that's something I have to work out. People do ask me what I've done for antennas. So in the front here I have my VHF antenna, and it's mounted on a Arizona Rocky Road JK pillar mount. You can get these online. Again, I'm putting all the links for this on. I had to put on a short, stubby, regular radio antenna because it interfered with the SWR on the amateur radio antenna. So that is the setup for that. Walking to the back, my HF antenna I have on a Diamond K400 mount. As you can see, it's quite old and seen a lot of miles, but it works beautifully. I use a screwdriver, the Yaesu ATAS 120 screwdriver antenna to go onto the back. I've also seen guys use these Diamond 400 mounts on the front. They'll put their VHF antenna on the front under the hood or something like that. The CB antenna is the typical CB location behind the tire. I will also mention that I tried something that didn't work. I had an additional mount back in here that was like the CB antenna, and I initially tried to put my amateur radio VHF antenna behind there, and it hit the tire, and my SWR was horrible. I guess it's because there's steel belts or something in this tire. It just threw the antenna off. So don't try and mount your VHF antenna there. You can put it back here. If you're not running HF, you can mount your VHF antenna there, or put it in the front on the Arizona Rocky Road mounts. I've also got an additional Rocky Road mount in the front here, and this is reserved. I'm going to put a scanner antenna on here, a small scanner antenna. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. So that's my system, and as you can see, there's a lot going on, and I didn't talk about running the wires. I don't need to do that. There's a ton of videos on YouTube. I ran most of my stuff up through the roll bar, along the roll bar, or either along the floor. Check on YouTube. There's a lot of videos on how to run wires. So that's it, and good luck, and I hope this helped out.